Jesus, when the devil says, after 40 days of fasting, you're hungry, turn these stones into bread to feed yourself. Jesus, let's do a drill right now. What are you going to say when he says that? And Jesus says, oh, I got that one. I'll be ready, and I'll tell him, man does not live on bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. Okay, Jesus, let me give you another one. What happens when he says, Jesus, throw yourself off of a mountain, throw yourself off of a high place to test me and see if I'll send my angels to care for you? What will you do then, Jesus? It's a good one, isn't it? It's a good one. And Jesus says, that's easy, I'll tell him. It is written, thou shalt not put the Lord your God to the test. God smiles, that's good, son. That's good. Now, what if Satan throws a big one at you and says, I'll give you all the riches and all the world. All you have to do is bow down and worship me for just a moment. Jesus isn't playing around now. Jesus is serious. Jesus smiles and states firmly, Dad, I'll look at him and I'll say, get away from me, Satan. It is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. And God says, well done. Well done. That's exactly right, Jesus. Just keep strong. Keep standing strong. Now God continues, and Jesus, you're going to have friends. In fact, you're going to have 12 men that you invest your life and your love in, and you're going to love them. They're your disciples. You're going to give them your best, and they're going to love you back, and they're going to be loyal to you. Until they're not. So you're going to have this one guy named Peter. He's going to be the boldest of the bunch. He's going to be the loudest. He's going to be extraordinary in so many good ways. And he is also going to tell you, Jesus, I'll always be there. If everyone else denies you, I'll never deny you. And then of all things, on your worst moment of life, in your worst moments of life, of all things, in front of an 8-year-old little girl, he's going to act like he never even knew who you were. In fact, he's going to do it a second time and a third time. And that's going to hurt. Jesus, that's going to hurt. He's too afraid to stand by you when you needed people the most, that he's going to abandon you. And Jesus, that's going to hurt. This is going to hurt too. On the night you're betrayed, because you're going to be betrayed in so many ways. You're going to be celebrating our supper, what will be known as the Lord's Supper, with your disciples, and you're going to break bread at Jesus, and you're going to hand it out to your disciples, and you're going to pass around the wine, the non-alcoholic sparkling wine, and you're going to pass that around to your disciples, and you're going to show them this actually represents what's going to be done to your body, and your blood will be shed. And you're going to be sharing this with your closest friends. And one of them, a man named Judas, hours after this very special meal you have with him, he's going to sell you out for just a few pieces of silver to your enemies. And then even worse, he's going to come and he's going to betray you with a kiss on the cheek. Jesus, keep on loving him. Keep on loving him, Jesus. And God looks at Jesus and he says, son, I want you to pay careful attention. That's going to be bad. It's going to be bad, but it only gets worse. See, in the Garden of Gethsemane, you're going to see ahead what's coming to you. And you're going to know, and you know this is why you were born. And you're gonna be so moved and overwhelmed looking at what's coming to you, and you're gonna ask me, and you're gonna say, Dad, is there any other way? And I'm gonna tell you then what I'm telling you now. You know there's not another way. You need to go to the cross. You need to go to the cross. And you will look up at me with obedience and love in your heart. And you'll say, okay, Father, your will be done, not mine. But because of the pain of what you know is coming is so great, you will literally sweat blood from the agony of comprehending it all. And Jesus, what's going to happen is they're going to arrest you. And Jesus, they're going to beat you, and they're going to hurt you like no one's ever been hurt before. You will not even be recognizable as human. And they will whip you again and again and again and again and again and again. 39 lashes until you are all ripped out open and crying in agony. And then they're going to throw you on an instrument of torture known as a cross, and they're going to stretch out your right hand and your right arm, and they're going to drive a stake through your wrist, and you'll scream in agony because you're fully God, but you're also fully man, and you will experience all of the pain that a human would experience. And as you scream in agony and you think it just couldn't hurt anymore, they're going to stretch out your left arm, and they're going to drive a stake through your left arm, and you're going to experience that even more pain. And Jesus, when you're not sure you can even survive the agony, they're going to take your feet, and they're going to drive stakes through your feet, and they won't stop there, Jesus. What they're going to do is they're going to strip you naked to humiliate you, and thousands of years later, they'll have these beautiful pictures of the crosses where you're covered in a loincloth and not very badly beaten, but you will be completely naked and just torn to pieces from being hurt so badly. And that's so much agony, but they're going to hang you on a cross like that, completely naked and humiliated and beaten and bruised. And then the very people that you tried to love, son, they're gonna walk up to you and they're going to spit in your face and mock you and say, "Hail, hail, King of the Jews. You saved other people. Why couldn't you save yourself?" And the very people, Jesus, that we created will mock us, the Creator. Family, God with us. Can you imagine this conversation? And it goes on. And because of who you are, you're going to look up to heaven and say, "Dad, please have mercy on them." While you're going through this, you're going to look up to me and you're going to say, "Dad, please forgive them because they don't even know what they're doing." Jesus, press on. Remember who you are. Remember who we are. And Jesus, I need you to understand, at any moment, if you chose to, I need you to understand, Jesus, at any moment, while you're on that cross, you could call out to me and I would send legions of angels to your aid and they would obliterate your enemies. But don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because you got to press on to the finish. Because you have to remember what you came for. You need to go on to the finish, and you need to complete everything that was prophesied that you would do. And Jesus, when it is finished, declare that it is finished. With a loud voice, say, "It is finished." It is finished. And then climb up into heaven. Give me your Spirit. And every step of the way, Jesus, I will be with you. I will be with you. I will be with Jesus, I'll never leave you until you become sin. Until you become sin. And you take on the sins of the world. And you die for those sins. Remember, you're the innocent sacrifice that nobody else could be. You're the only one who could do this. You're there to take their sin. And Jesus, when you become sin, God says, I'm going to have to look away. As all the sin is placed upon you and you become sin and the punishment for all sin is taken upon you, I am so holy, I cannot look upon sin. And Jesus, all of the physical pain will pale in comparison to that moment when I withdraw and you cry out, "Dad, Dad, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why can't you be with me when I need you most?" Just remember, Jesus, I cannot look upon sin. Finish it. And cry out and give your life for those who hate you. And then you're going to be buried in a borrowed tomb. And then 3 days later, Jesus, some women are going to go and look at the tomb, and the stone won't be in its proper place, and neither will you, son, because you'll be resurrected from the dead. We will fulfill the perfect and final sacrifice for the forgiveness of sins because we love them so much. God with us. He loves you so much.